I call the fourth meeting of the Efficient and Effective School District Governance Task Force to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Neal, Senator Tishner, Representative Bojanowski,
Here.
Representative Fleming, Brittany Abdullahad, Philip Baker, Angela Masden, George Nichols,
Present.
Rebecca Nicholas, Jody Wertenberger, Allison Ball, Representative Tipton,
Here.
Co-Chair Nemus,
Present.
Chair Banta.
Present. And just as a reminder, please silence your cell phones. I would like to introduce Co-Chair Senator Nemus beside me. And I want to thank Jefferson County Public Schools for allowing us to come to this lovely building. It's probably the cleanest high school I think I've ever seen, and do our meeting here. Are there any members that wish to speak? Yes, Ms. Bojanowski, Representative Bojanowski.
Okay, yes, I just want to say go Yellow Jackets. I'm Central High School class of 1982, and lots of memories coming in that back parking lot, and spent a lot of time there, had a wonderful experience, and it's just delightful to be back here again.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Senator Nemus.
Yes, I just want to thank you all for being here, because this is what we need, is your input. Shows that you care, and we want to help you, so thank you very much.
Okay. We have a quorum, so is there a motion to approve the minutes of July 29th meeting? Motion, second? Second? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Thank you. The minutes are approved. And just as a reminder, this meeting is going to be streamed to the LRC YouTube page and will be available from the LRC website. The purpose of this meeting is to provide the public the opportunity to give the task force, us, some feedback. We have two specific questions that we're very interested in finding out. How would you like to see the district's academic offerings, educational capabilities, and operations improved, if there are any improvements needed, and how these factors affected the enrollment decisions for your child, if that is germane to you. Sign-up sheets were outside, and we are going to call up a batch of names at a time to kind of save people from walking up, so we'll call about 5 names at a time. You have 3 minutes. Please identify yourself for the record, and upon ending or time being called, please return to your seat. Thank you, and we will go ahead and begin. Our first 4 speakers, and please forgive me if I butcher this, I will correct myself when you get up here. Saleha Beller, Louisa Sarpé, Ellen Niemoff, and Letitia Cahoon. Yes, please proceed.
Good evening, JCPS Task Force members, faculty, and guests. My name is Saleha Beeler, and I'm honored to stand before you today as Central Senior Class President. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share my perspective on how we can work together to further enhance our district's commitment to academic excellence. Central has provided me with a strong foundation for success. However, as we look to the future, I believe that there are key areas where we can elevate our educational experience even further. One of Central's greatest strengths is the academic offerings. Students from across the county are drawn to Central for the unique opportunities it provides, the medical magnets, the award-winning robotics club, and the advanced placement art program. I mean, I could go on and on about all the great programs we have here. All these great programs I've named not only enrich our learning, but also attract talented students and dedicated educators, creating a vibrant academic community. However, if our district were to be divided, these exceptional programs, which rely on shared resources and a diverse student body, would be at risk. Maintaining a unified district is crucial to ensuring that all students, regardless of their location, have access to these valuable educational choices. Furthermore, I believe that expanding elective offerings and practical life skills would greatly benefit students like myself. While we have a solid selection, incorporating more courses in areas like financial literacy, where we can learn about taxes and managing personal finances, or courses on home ownership will better equip us for the realities of adulthood. These are essential skills that often get overlooked in traditional academic settings, and providing students with a strong foundation in these areas will be invaluable. Finally, I believe that properly funding our district is paramount to ensuring that all students have access to a quality education and a wide range of choices. Adequate funding allow us to attract and retain highly qualified teachers, maintain up-to-date facilities, and provide the resources necessary for a well-rounded education. When we invest in education, we invest in the future of our community. These are just a few ideas, and I am confident that by working together, we can implement meaningful changes that will benefit all students in our district. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
A quote from James Baldwin simply states, "Anyone who has ever struggled with poverty knows how extremely expensive it is to be poor. One of those expenses should never be the cost of education, let alone education that is supposed to be free." Good evening, JCPS Task Force members and everyone who was able to make it today. My name is Louisa Sarpy, honored to be Central Sophomore Class President. I want to take this opportunity to share with you my perspective on the topic at hand. Last year, I stood trying to make my voice heard on an issue for my education, and today I am here for proper funding for the same education. Education at Central, that has provided me a pathway to study law, meet new people, and speak up for others who feel like their voice hasn't been heard. A privilege that I know will be deeply affected if our district is separated. Not only for me, but students who live in poorer neighborhoods. Our district gets 53% of its revenue from local taxes. But because property values are higher in North and East Jefferson, those schools in the regions will be funded and provided with more resources. Poorer districts will lack the capacity to generate revenue locally, which will affect us as a community. With a lack of funding comes with a lack of new materials, proper wages for teachers, and retaining quality teachers. We cannot emphasize the importance of education, but sit and take away that ticket. The district cannot improve if we deny access to all. It is a social economic achievement gap that evolves over time that we have a chance to prevent. Even though this is my personal perspective, I know this is a community issue that will affect all of us all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Can you test that for us?
Testing.
That's great.
If
Thank,
Mr. Baker, we only had your voice on a Friday night, we'd be good tonight.
thank you for your patience.
Okay.
You may proceed.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Niehoff, and it's my pleasure as a JCPS teacher and a proud parent of a JCPS graduate to address you all this evening. JCPS has some of the best academic offerings in the country. Our schools offer a variety of advanced placement courses, dual credit classes, and numerous career and technical opportunities. You can study welding, automotive repairs, firefighting, aviation, nursing, dentistry, pre-med, computer programming, culinary arts, diesel engine technician, and so many more. Our district has plenty of academic offerings for our students. My son benefited from the STEM program at Central High School and is now attending the Speed School at University of Louisville on full scholarship. Our JCPS schools have the academic offerings for our students to succeed. What we do not have is transportation to get JCPS students to these programs. From 2020 to 2023, the state shorted JCPS $104 million that could have been used to hire and retain bus drivers. Funding is crucial in education, and the legislative branch needs to provide districts across the Commonwealth with the funds to properly transport students. This is not only a JCPS problem. This is a problem across the Commonwealth. Is there going to be a task force created to look into why transportation has not been funded? This money would greatly help school districts across the Commonwealth, not just the ones with 75,000 or more students that you all are targeting. In addressing the educational capabilities of the district, we truly need to address the educational capabilities of the entire Commonwealth. We are short teachers. We need math teachers. We need English teachers. We need special needs teachers. We need science teachers. And this is across the Commonwealth and not just in JCPS. In my 20 years of teaching, I have watched the legislative branch strip away pensions for teachers. It is hard to recruit teachers, especially in high-need areas, when a quality pension is not available. A pension is just not a promise for teachers. It is an educational promise to the students of our Commonwealth. Can we form a task force to look at how the changes in the teacher retirement system has led to a decrease in those entering the field of education? I must say I've been a vocal critic of some of JCPS policies over the year. I will say I'm pleasantly surprised at how our operations have improved this year as a result of our district leaders listening to stakeholders and using their feedback to implement changes. Many have benefited from these changes this school year, and 14,000, unfortunately, have suffered. What we need is the state to do its part with funding. Transportation could be expanded, and all JCPS students could benefit from the academic offerings throughout our district. Many of you on this task force sit on a perch of privilege and are not aware of how the policy in Frankfort impacts students and their families across the Commonwealth. Healthcare needs to be funded. Educational outcomes will be improved with this. A living minimum wage needs to be passed so parents don't have to work multiple jobs and can be home with their children. This will improve educational outcome. Criminalizing poverty has negatively impacted families across the Commonwealth. If this changes, educational outcomes will improve. The students of our Commonwealth, and especially the JCPS students you are targeting, deserve better from Frankfort. Thank you.
Thank you. Letitia? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Letitia Cahoon, and I am the president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Eta Omega Chapter. I'll first say that I am not here to speak on behalf of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. Instead, I am speaking on behalf of the local Eta Omega Chapter. Eta Omega has a strong history of supporting and servicing families in our community. And that's because we understand that a healthy and prosperous family is the foundation of a prosperous community. Under our initiative, Empower Our Families, we engage in service projects that address childhood hunger, that cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, and promote positive youth development, leadership, and mental well-being. So this is why I am standing before you today on behalf of the ladies of Eta Omega and in partnership with JCPS's Diversity, Equity, and Poverty Office, so that we can say to improve educational capabilities would be to not split up the district. Now, we are opposing this strategy just because it goes against the program initiatives that we have and offer. Now, experience shows that segregation of schools lead to some schools having more than others. Schools that are in at-risk areas are often overlooked, leaving children who attend these schools behind. Now, personally, I come from a middle-class family, and I will say I did not have the same struggles as some of my peers. But one thing I did learn from my parents was that, and I will say I also passed on to my children, who, by the way, are products of Jefferson County Public Schools, is that we don't look past those who are marginalized, because you never know that you may be in circumstances yourself where you need a helping hand. My parents also taught me that we don't leave anyone behind. We help those in need, we lift them up, we lift up our fellow citizens, because if the least of us suffers, we all suffer. However, when everyone has the opportunity to succeed, we all succeed. So I urge you, we urge you to think long-term and consider the future of our children in this great state. Let's stay united to improve our district's educational capabilities and operations across all public schools in our city. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Ava Ava Williams, Michelle Patrick, Kumar Rashad, and Bonifacio Alman.
Good afternoon. I'm Ava Williams, and I'm in front of you today to speak about my experiences as a junior at Central High School. The idea of having a division within JCPS sparks fear as well as curiosity. I'm curious to if this idea will be effective, if it is necessary, and if it's being made by the right people. This idea makes me wonder how the ones who will be affected the most, the students, feel about this. I took it upon myself to speak for ones who may feel voiceless and to provide advocacy for students like me here at Central. Central has provided a place for me to explore my passion for education while receiving personalized support. My magnet, Teaching and Learning, has provided many opportunities for me that I would not have found elsewhere. Our magnet was able to tour Kentucky State University, where I got to speak with the program director for social work. We sit in classes at University of Louisville, and I was provided with an internship that was only applicable to Shawnee and Central students in the Teaching and Learning magnet. Being a leader in this specialized magnet has opened up a world of opportunities that is owed to the relationship I have created with one of my teachers, Ms. Chandler. Her words of encouragement and discipline has pushed me to achieve my goals and is what has taken me to the places I'm at today. I've spent the last few years at Central, a place that has not only shaped me academically, but has also provided me with a safe haven during some of the most challenging times in my life. The people that I have met, as well as the relationships I have created, has contributed to my growth significantly. My 10th grade English teacher, Ms. Seckman, always provides a listening ear, whether that is with academic issues or personal issues. Ms. Mason helps me with problems I may have at home, within my relationships, or even at school. Ms. Chandler introduced me to many people who have helped set me up for success when it comes to my future career. These adults who have changed my life are significantly unique to the students here at Central, and they meet you right where you're at, which has been hard for me to find elsewhere. As someone who struggles with their mental health, Central High School has been a lifeline. The supportive environment, understanding teachers, and access to counseling services has been invaluable in helping me navigate my struggles. The individualized attention and encouragement has allowed me to form meaningful relationships not only with my peers, but my mentors as well. I feel seen and heard. I feel comfortable to ask questions in class, all of which I feel like I wouldn't have if I attended elsewhere. I fear that splitting up the district could jeopardize the unique experiences and support that Central provides to its students. Smaller districts may be faced with resource constraints that could limit access to specialized magnet programs, especially for students in disadvantaged areas like Central High School. Additionally, the transition to a new school environment could be overwhelming for students who rely on familiar support systems and resources that Central offers. I urge the task force to carefully consider the potential impact of district splitting on students like me. While change can be necessary, it is crucial to ensure that any changes made will prioritize the well-being and academic success of all students. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Michelle Patrick, and I am a retired educator, a taxpayer, the Education Committee Chair of the Louisville Branch NAACP, and a lifelong resident of Jefferson County. I come to you to address the two questions guiding this meeting. When addressing district offerings, education capabilities, and operations, the issue of equitable funding is of utmost importance. Equitable funding is not just a financial matter, but it is a moral imperative that directly impacts the quality of education and the future of our students. We must ensure that sufficient funds are available for set capabilities and operations. The task force must ensure that funding is distributed fairly among schools and programs. No child must be left with limited access to desired programs. In essence, duplications of programs should be a district-wide standard, regardless of the child's residential area. By enforcing these educational capabilities, we are ensuring that all students of this district, no matter where they reside, are literate, numerate, and able to think critically, and that they can express themselves in writing and speaking. This action ensures that students who graduate can attend college or enter a training program to gain employment and become a productive citizen of this Commonwealth. This task force must ensure that qualified teachers are certified in their content area. If we expect our children to flourish academically, we no longer can rely on individuals with limited teaching and content experience in critical areas of need. Our academic offerings should be a reflection of our diverse community. The curriculum should be inclusive, truthful, and offered in all schools, regardless of ethnicity. Our children should see themselves in curriculum material, fostering gender identity, social class and status, sexual orientation, cultural, religious, and most importantly, embracing those with disabilities. In addition to seeing themselves in curriculum materials, they should also see themselves holding positions in schools that reflect that community. Our children need to see our parents and teachers and administrators engage in decision-making process on all school policies. When students see this exhibited, they feel valued. The entire district, starting from teachers and ending with all administrators, should value diversity and have a strong academic and communication skills to convey their vision for the student's success. The teachers and administrators should be goal-oriented and be able to resolve conflict, be good listeners and motivators, and most importantly, be compassionate. As for education operations, we should ensure that our schools are
Dr.
clean,
Patrick.
safe, and healthy.
I'm sorry, you're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Kumar Rashad, and I'm your 2024 High School Teacher of the Year. I teach mathematics at Breckenridge Metro High School, which is an alternative school for students with behavioral needs. Many students are sent to us by the criminal justice system and require much support as they are often neglected by society. Last year, we had 2 mental health counselors to support our students, which we need, but this year, due to budget cuts and among other factors, we only have 1. And honestly, I think the money we're spending on audits and task forces could be used differently to help our students. Millions of dollars are wasted policing our students. Every school has a safety security officer, security resource officer. Millions wasted on metal detectors that are not efficient. Research from Hamline University shows that schools with police officers have 2.83 times more deaths when a shooter enters a building. Our tax dollars can be used more wisely. We are really excited and hopeful that our new state commissioner and several legislators have shown interest in revolutionizing our accountability system to do a better job of capturing what students learn. But as of now, we give countless dollars to corporations who overcharge us for standardized testing material which fail to demonstrate learning. We need more teachers, bus drivers, staff support, better raises, not more unfunded state mandates that drain our schools from their resources. We need to be fully funded to support the great work we're doing, like increasing graduation rates, post-secondary workforce readiness, and we proudly boast about leading the nation in COVID learning loss reduction. We have academies, career, technical education that serve an entire community and wouldn't be available if we were split into smaller districts. My school gives emotional support and provides nursing, small engine repair, culinary arts to at-risk students across our district. It's because of our size that we're able to do these things. We offer students pathways into a larger economy. We couldn't do this if we were smaller districts. Divert monies away from wasting our time with policing our severely traumatized students. Use that to recruit more employees. Fund institutions who have started teacher prep programs like Simmons College. Invest in our students' success in the curriculums that add value to the identities of every student, not cookie-cutter curriculums. We should be spending money on protecting every student and employees from the harsh and often racist actions committed by one-size-fits-all pedagogy and assessments, and from the harsh disciplinary actions received by both students and employees of color. Don't waste time or money and resources on splitting our district up. The Education Commission of States reported to you all in your session last week that consolidating districts saves money. Putting them together saves money. So splitting districts up must waste more money. JCPS has its problems, but breaking up the district will only exacerbate most, if not all, of those problems. Kumar Rashad, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just spoke with Co-Chair Nemus, and he wanted me to say that we're not talking about splitting up the district. We're not. So I just wanted to share that. That's not our agenda. So please don't change what you want to say. We just wanted to kind of put that out there because that can't be done with this task force in this short of time. So, okay, next. Bonifacio Alman? Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm not Bonifacio Alderman. He's not able to make it here right now. If possible, could I stand in the gap? I'm also on the list. Could I stand in the gap and be able to speak, if possible?
Yes, please.
Thank
Proceed.
you. First of all, let me say thank you for allowing us a chance to speak with you and voice
I'm sorry,
our
can
concerns.
you identify yourself?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, my name is Mandel Clark. I am an avid, consistent member of Kentuckians for the Commonwealth. Thank you for allowing us to come out and speak with you all. For a brief moment, if you could close your ears and listen with your heart. As a former JCPS student and the proud parent of a current JCPS student, I think that JCPS is doing the best they can with the funding allocated. And the survey of Kentuckians across 14 counties showed that Kentuckians believe that a lack of funding is the primary problem, and funding is that fully funding public education is the best solution to alleviate these issues instead of creating a task force. I believe that Kentucky legislature should fully fund public education. For more, see the Kentuckians for the Commonwealth Education Justice in Kentucky report. You can also contribute your current study by taking our education survey policy. Thank you for a moment of your time, and you all have a great day on purpose.
Okay, our next group, Lamont Collins, Lyndon Pryor, Melissa Nelson, and Terrence Sullivan.
Good evening. My name is Lamont Collins, President and CEO of Roots 101 African American Museum. I've been in Louisville all my life. I was part of when busing started in the 70s, and I see the results of what we see today. I think what's so important is that we've always were told that Jefferson County school system was for everyone, but history tells us that's not necessarily true. And what's so important is that if we come together and work together, there's no reason to split anything. It's about bringing together. And if education matters to everyone. And the most important thing is to have the opportunity for everyone to come together than to try to divide resources that some people never have. And when you split something, those that have the majority always controls what happens. But when you join something together, that's when the greatest things happen. And we have to continue to grow things together and not apart. Because history tells us when we allow people to put power against those with less power, the power always wins. And we have to allow everyone to have the opportunity to educate and grow together and not being separated simply because you have more to contribute than what I have to contribute. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lyndon Pryor, President and CEO of the Louisville Urban League. And in the interest not to be redundant from many of my neighbors here who have said absolutely the right thing with regard to what we need and what we don't, I am more interested in posing the question to you all about why do we in the legislature here and in the assembly continue to seek to solve problems that no one has asked to be solved. no one here and no one in this community has ever said that JCPS is perfect. I think there are lots of things that we would love to see happen in the school district to make sure that all of our students have the most open, equitable, and best quality education that they can get. But as you heard from many here, there are a lot of things, both in the district as well as out of the district, that you could be working on and investing in to ensure that that happens, whether that is health, whether it's housing, whether that's transportation, whether that's poverty. Those are all things that you all have at your, that you have the ability to impact positively at your disposal. But rather than thinking about those things and how do we create a better Louisville, or quite frankly, a better Kentucky when it comes to education and to our greater society, there seems to be this tendency to want to pick on JCPS and try to figure out how do we do things that ultimately disrupt education and keep people from equitable access. And so we have to do better. As a community, we have to do better. You all have to do better as electeds and those who represent us about truly fixing the issues that people want to be fixed and that need to be fixed. We need you all to really focus on the things that the community is actually telling you are wrong, and the places in which we actually need your help, your resources, your guidance, your wisdom, all of those sorts of things. Let us stop wasting people's time and taxpayer dollars on task force and commissions and a whole host of other things that, quite frankly, we don't need and don't get us anywhere further. We need to be much more intelligent, much more intentional, and much more intensive about how we create the system and the society for our kids that we ultimately want them to have. We do a lot of work at the Urban League across all of our pillars, and we understand that people are whole people, and so they come with a whole host of different things when they walk through our doors and looking for services. And this is absolutely true for every one of our students who walks through the doors of every single school. And what we need at this time, more than anything in this country, is to make sure that the people who are responsible for their care, who are responsible for ensuring that they have the resources that they need, see every one of our students as fully human, worthy of dignity, worthy of respect, and worthy of access to all the things that your kids, my kids, and everybody else's kids should have in this society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Terrence Sullivan. I am here as the Vice Chair of the Advisory Council on Racial Equity for JCPS. And the questions presented for discussion, I felt like lacked the introspection that other people here have shown in the speakers so far, because the questions presuppose the fault on the district and don't add any space for culpability of the legislature. And so in answering those questions, or the first question specifically of how would you like to see academic offerings and educational capabilities and operations be improved, the answer to me is simple, and that's to listen to the district and the people within it. And so to try to refrain from the micromanagement from Frankfurt and work with the district as a partner. And an example of that goes back to some of the work in 2020 and the way that it was demonized talking about CRT, and then the demonization of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which are well-meaning and well-researched programs that help increase and grow student outcomes. And so JCPS is a large district, and despite its numerous challenges and state interference, it's produced some of the top schools in the state, including many in the top 10, one of which is among the top 20 magnet programs in the country. And so as to what I would like to see, here are a couple quick thoughts. More investment into the community supports for JCPS schools, including targeted investment into higher needs schools and their surrounding areas. Legislation that identifies needs of the communities and neighborhoods around the schools that creates more jobs and more opportunities and makes more possibilities to thrive that exist currently. And though it was stated as not the purpose of this meeting, the enabling legislation was based on that intent, but a commitment to tabling any efforts to split up the district as such a tragic move would drive up costs and exacerbate inequities. In the past 15 years, other conservative states have sought to dismantle their urban school districts, which resulted in school closures and worsened racial education gaps, not improvements. The priority should actually be on identifying what JCPS needs and how the government can help contribute, and actually funding transportation and creating incentives for drivers to want to drive the buses, especially the $140 million that has not been funded. So lastly, if there must be a task force, make it a task force that's a true task force seeking to improve the district and not point fingers, but be honest and introspective in the attempts to address issues within the district and establish a prolonged and continuous work plan together. For example, the thing that should have been included with the community conversation is when to have this meeting. As you look at the attendance, having a conversation with the community would have said 5:30 right after work is not an equitable time because people have to factor in busing, transportation, childcare, all those things. But when you work with the community, you identify what problems need to be solved. And as Lyndon said, then you don't answer questions that people don't even ask. So
I'm sorry, you're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Melissa Nelson still here? Okay. Next, for Gary Spots, Michelle Kiggins, Chris Brady, and Ellis Tarver. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Spots. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and a member of Alpha Lambda Chapter here in Louisville, both of which are the oldest of their kind. Though I do not stand here to speak on behalf of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated because that is an honor and a privilege that is accorded only to our General President, I do stand here to speak on behalf of our President, Michael Crawford, of our local chapter. I want to say to you, first and foremost, and I could just stand here and say ditto. Quite frankly, I could say ditto to and amen to everything that has already been said so eloquently and so powerfully. But what I will say to you is this: as a lifelong resident of Jefferson County, Louisville, Kentucky, and a graduate of the public schools, and a beneficiary and a victim of busing, I'm gonna let that land on you for a second. I stand here and say to you with all sincerity that this, though the stated purpose from the forum is that it is not to split JCPS, I think that the underlying intent of this meeting is to address that issue. But for me, this seems to be a veiled attempt to return to a separate but unequal educational system. And I'm appalled that we're even having this conversation. And I agree that our legislators, our representative democracy legislators, should represent us in a way that addresses the real issues, the pertinent issues, the salient issues that are plaguing not only our community, but every community. I will say this as well, that whatever we experience and whatever we do here, we have to remember that this is always going to be bigger than us. This is bigger than us. Whatever decisions that are made by our representative democracy elected officials, whatever decisions that are made do not just affect this current generation, but it affects generations to come. It does not just affect children who were born and reared in the West End like myself, who now lives in Newburgh. And I've lived in black communities all my life while I lived in and resided here in Kentucky. It affects everyone in every burg and hamlet of Louisville and Kentucky. I stand here because there are 4 schools in JCPS that are named for my esteemed brothers,
Lyman T. Johnson, Martin Luther King Jr., Whitney M.
sorry,
Young.
sir, you're out of
Okay,
time.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. Chris Brady, by the way. Good evening to the committee and to the community members that are present here tonight. The two proposed questions for this meeting seem odd to me, since the real question is, why does this committee even exist to begin with? Nevertheless, I'll answer these questions, starting with the second one first. My wife and I chose JCPS to educate both of our boys because of the wide range of programs offered and the diversity of children that they would get to play, learn, and grow up with during their formative years. We want them to know others that don't look like them, don't sound like them, don't appear from the same backgrounds from them. We want them to learn and live together. We live in an ever more connected world where it's important that we all have the ability to meet each other where we are and understand one another. No other school district in the state has more diversity or offers more programs than JCPS. Now to the first question of improvement. Let me first say that JCPS isn't perfect. Believe me when I tell you I know this better than most. However, like our country trying to form a more perfect union, the women and men of JCPS strive to make it better. One of the best ways to improve JCPS, or not just this district, but all districts in the Commonwealth, is to fully fund public schools, and also to vote no on Amendment 2 in November. Some in the legislative branch could stop trying to take JCPS property that belongs to the taxpayers of Jefferson County, such as pressuring the administration to give the C.B. Young Center to the fairgrounds. Those same folks could start treating teachers with the respect they deserve and provide funds to pay them more. They could restore funding to learning materials such as books and, maybe transportation while you're at it. The state could actually respect the decisions the people of Jefferson County have made over and over by electing their elected school board, and let them do their job unencumbered by the agendas of cultural war politics, power, and greed. Let's not kid ourselves. The reason for this public comment meeting is to try and give this task force what it desperately lacks: legitimacy. If it sounds like that I have a healthy amount of contempt for this task force, then your ears aren't deceiving you. But it pales in comparison to the contempt shown by some of the committee members here and the legislative majority towards the people of Louisville. Thank you and have a good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ellis Tarver. I am a sixth grade ECE math teacher at the Dr. J. Blaine Hudson School of Excellence in West Louisville. And really quickly, I am echoing a lot of things that what my colleagues and some of my community members are saying, but I want to give a possible solution. One of the main things that I'm hearing is transparency. A lot of these positions are elected positions, which means in another 4 or 2 years, you all may not be here. And the major issue that I have seen in our community is people are telling us what we need and not asking us what we need. The very simple, here's the solution way of doing that is everyone has a Facebook page, because when you all want us to re-vote, we see those posts. Why not ask the same community members out here, what do they think before you ever vote or before you ever put forth any legislation? Time is gone where you have to make a decision for the majority. Now the majority can be captured with surveys, with emails, or any other way. What we're asking is, if you want to help us, then hear us. Hear what we need individually, because it's not as far as a section of the city, or it is the whole city that is in need, but everybody has their own individual needs. So please survey us to see what we need so there won't be so much contempt when we come together. Thank you.
Michelle Kiggins. Sean Moore and Jennifer Lockhart. Go ahead, if he comes, I'll
Yes, ma'am.
get him.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Lockhart, and I've actually communicated at your first meeting with all of the committee members. So I'm here again to make a request and to share my request with all of you that are here in attendance as well. My request is right to vote in common school elections for all Kentuckians from date of birth. Now, that is something that is already allowed, I say, prescribed and protected under Part 155 of the Kentucky State Constitution. Now, it was Jim Crow era Supreme Court of the state of Kentucky that determined that our legislature is allowed to pick its voters for common school elections. But I request that you make the recommendation that all Kentuckians from date of birth vote in common school elections. Those elections back in the 1920s were tax elections, and they were held by voice, so there's no record to tell you before federal suffrage that women, Black people, or however we named them then, or children were voting in those elections because they were via voice. However, before federal suffrage, we did have a Barron County school superintendent, Nettie Depp, that served and was elected in a common school election. And I do want to say, because people say, oh, parents need to make those choices, right? So I suggest to you that the parents are not the most educated here in the room. I have never studied for a school election before I showed up to vote. I vote for women and names that look cool. And I'm somebody that cares, right? I could not tell you who is on my school board. I never could, except for Attica Scott. And I didn't even know she lived in my district. I went to vote for her. She wasn't even in my district, and I didn't know it. I suggest to you that these ladies here, the sophomore student, the class president of junior year, and the class president of senior year will make a way more educated vote than we do, especially considering the abysmal rate of voting that we have, especially in common school elections. And I'll close with telling you how my parents were wrong. My parents were wrong because Black people were not allowed in my house. I was not allowed to date Black men. When the 3 Black dudes in Valley High School that lived in the district came around, they were greeted and talked about with adjectives that I'm not allowed to say here today, but we could say back in the 1980s with NWA. So I'm here to tell you, I don't trust the parents to make those choices. And I'm here to ask you to trust the children to do that. I learned about this at 8 years old. I learned to read at 4 years old. And my parents got divorced at 8. So my life was chaos, and I have been to more schools than I can remember. If I had that right to vote, if I had that ballot, I would have had some control over my education. And I probably would have gone to college and made a lot more money. But I tell you, the one thing that the school did for me, that Jefferson County did for me, was give me a...
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
3 words: emotional and relationship social intelligence that has brought me here to this day. Thank you so much.
Sean Moore. Okay. Ryan Davis. Melissa Nelson.
Good evening. I'm a teacher here in JCPS, and I'd first like to thank you for coming to our community to hear some feedback. I'll be the first to admit that we in JCPS have room for growth. Dr. Polio can probably tell you that I have likely personally burned every bridge with district administration in my efforts to try and push JCPS to be better. And I say that so you know that I'm not just an apologist for the status quo. I know we have serious work to do. It also means that I know that as I push our district, I realize that often their hands are also tied. As much as I know that we need a massive culture shift in JCPS, I also know that that's not something that can be imposed from the outside in. See, I've been teaching for 17 years, and I cannot remember a time when our district has not been under audit, under threat of takeover, our students under attack, our resources limited, or our funding shortened, all initiatives imposed from the outside in. I cannot remember a time when state pressure has not led to more and more testing and less meaningful learning for the students in our most vulnerable schools. See, it's so hard for us to move forward when people are always throwing up roadblocks and detours. The thing is, I hope you're hearing tonight how much power and capacity we have in this room. We have some of the best educators in the state. In fact, you just heard from the high school teacher of the year. The school you're in right now literally serves students from every corner of our large district and has produced some of the most amazing lawyers, healthcare workers, and engineers our city has seen. You've heard from multiple community members who've shown up at board meetings too. Our community is always coming together. And I'd also like to highlight the work of Evolve 502, which is a community-led organization that has promised a postgraduate education to every JCPS graduate. This is what happens when we work together and not separate or split. See, the real truth is, we don't need a hero to swoop in and make things better for us. The constant scrutiny and solutions from outside has actually made it harder for our leaders to build the collaborative environment that we need to move towards. The energy of our students and educators has been overtaxed and burdened because they go to school, they go to practice, they study, and then they also have to show up at meetings like this every year for the past 17 years just to defend their right to go back to school the next day. But I hope what you're seeing tonight is a note of hope and a note of proof that we actually do have everything we need right here in this room. I hope this committee will lead by setting the example that leadership is not about doing two, but about doing together. I believe that JCPS is poised to move to this type of leadership. I believe we have the capacity to do this. I just believe we need the space to do this. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to leave you with the words of someone who's very different from me, former President Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan said the 9 most terrifying words he'd heard were, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." In JCPS, we know the overbearing onslaught of burdensome help from the state. It hasn't given us the space to be our best. It won't give us the space to be our best. And what I sincerely hope you take away from tonight is that we can do this thing together if the state is willing to fund and support our collectively working together as a district. Thank you.
Manuel Gar, Adrian Houston, F. Bruce Williams, and Chris Harmon.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Gar. I'm a JCPS employee in the Information Technology Department, but I'm also a parent. And I came down to speak tonight because, as has already kind of been said numerous times, this task force seems to be a solution looking for a problem. JCPS has been I've been at JCPS now for over almost 15 years. It feels like we've been under constant audit after audit after audit, be it internal, be it external, and whatever issues that JCPS has, we already know about them. So in terms of the legitimacy of this task force, it still leaves me scratching my head of why it's even necessary. If we are genuinely concerned about helping JCPS, if we're serious, then let's, as has again already been stated, listen to the people who work here, who have been doing the work. I by no means am unique. I know there are other people within the district who do jobs that touch everybody, but one thing that is unique about my job and what I do, there is not a district, there is not a department, there is not a school within JCPS that I do not touch in some way, shape, or form due to the nature of what it is that I do. And as a result of that experience, I can tell you firsthand that these people are doing jobs that we never hear about on the news. We never hear about Giselle Danger and what she does within DEP to make sure that our homeless students and that our foster students get to school every day, that they have the services that they need, that they literally pay people's rent. They pay for support for our students, for those who are displaced when they come home and they see their stuff laying out on the street that they had absolutely nothing to do with. We don't hear about all of these other heroes within our district who make our district what it is. The diversity of our district is not a bug, it's a feature. It is a feature and an asset. And so some of the things that we've heard in regards to what is, I guess, what engendered this task force, you sit up here and we say that, okay, well, this is not about splitting up the district. Let's be real, don't insult our intelligence. We read the paper too. We watch the news too. So if we're going to help JCPS in the issues that it does have, the scale is not an issue. Because if it were an issue, then you would have to explain to me, how is it that Duval County, down in Jacksonville, Florida, which is a peer district within JCPS, how are they succeeding? How is Charlotte-Mecklenburg in Charlotte, North Carolina, another peer district that is the size and scale of JCPS, also in a metropolitan city? How are they excelling? How is Fairfax County in Fairfax, Virginia? How are they excelling? They too are a peer JCPS district. How is Baltimore County?
You're out of time.
So I would just offer those as districts to look at before we start looking to fix JCPS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Houston, and I want to welcome you to the city of Louisville, especially for those of you who do not live in Jefferson County. I am a taxpayer. I'm a member of Bates Memorial Baptist Church, and I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm not here on behalf of Bates nor Delta. I'm here because of Andrea. I'm often minded, think about my father right now. I remember being about 10 years old, maybe a little younger than that. A little girl grew up in Northeast Jefferson County, and the vote came in where Anchorage was trying to annex all of Northeast Jefferson County. And what happened is that the people said, no, we don't want to be a part of Anchorage. They wanted Berrytown, they wanted everything else. So then what happened? You got Fincastle, city of Fincastle, city of Coldstream, all those areas became city because they said, no, we want to self-govern. We don't want you coming here telling us what to do. So you would ask, why would I say that? Well, I want to say because, you know, I looked at what Jason Nema says. He said, for the first time in Kentucky history, required redistricting plan following the U.S. Census has been upheld by Kentucky courts, and it is for the first time that Republicans have drawn the map. So therefore, now I have a senator that doesn't even live in my county, who doesn't represent me, who tells me that I shouldn't have JCPS pride. Would she like to stand up? I asked her, I said, I want to wear JCPS pride. She said, you would want to wear that? Well, why not? We are JCPS proud. I am a product of it. I went from Camera to Ballard. My brother and sister went from Norton to Westport. We are JCPS proud. Every time we turn around, it seems like this state has to focus on its economics. I want you, Mr. Nemes, to look at your facts. Working for the Bureau, I look at the data from the Census Bureau. I want to encourage you to do that. Yes, the population has fallen in Jefferson County and in Lexington. You don't talk about that. But it's falling for different reasons. And also, so has your African-American population. Maybe they're leaving the state because of flight and fright. That's our history in the state of Kentucky. So just like with Kentucky State, just like with the University of Louisville, you attack Louisville. It has always been Louisville against the rest. And I ask why. We are all a part of the great state of Kentucky. It is so un-Republican and undemocratic to come in and tell people, we think that we can educate you and your children better. I don't agree with the lady who came before me. I can't judge what she said because I really don't get the full context of it. But I believe that you cannot educate my children better than me. You don't love them like I do, and you don't understand what they need. So until you walk a mile in my shoes, and I feel that at least 80% of the legislatures, both senators and representatives, actually care about a black girl raised in Northeast Jefferson County, take your ideas and opinions and take them back. Take them back. Because we're going to fight, and when we fight, y'all know what happens. We win.
Good evening. Welcome to Louisville. I'm Dr. F. Bruce Williams. I pastor the Bates Memorial Baptist Church. It's a 5,000 member
congregation in the Smoketown community on the east side of the city. We consider ourselves partners with JCPS. We support JCPS. To say that is not to suggest that there aren't anything about JCPS that doesn't need to be corrected. Where we do well, we celebrate. Where it needs to be corrected, we critique it and we correct it because we love it. You've heard tonight some very eloquent and insightful and passionate people who have shared with you data and information and some frustration. The reason why you keep hearing that we don't want to divide the district is because that's why we thought we were here. That was to address the fact that we didn't want to divide the district. It felt like people were coming to rescue us, but we don't need to be rescued. We need to be resourced. We don't need to be saved. We need to be supported. It's not possible to underfund a program and then complain when it suffers from malnutrition in various areas. If we are funded properly, then we could address some of the issues that funding needs. But we are capable, and one of the reasons why we are capable in this very large district is because we really pull together when it's necessary. Dr. King says we're all caught in an inescapable web of mutuality and tied in a single garment of destiny. We think you, since you now exist, we think you can better serve us by asking us what we need and then going to bat for us to find the resources we need to do what we already know we need to do. We just need support. We need resources. I have two daughters, 130, 134. Both of them are products of this public school system. We're proud of it. We're passionate about it. And we will support it. And we hope that you will support it as well. Thank you.
My name is Chris Armour, proud Wagner High School graduate. I am with the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, Louisville chapter. We see ourselves as critical friends, as some of the other folks have talked about, supporting JCPS and poking and pushing and trying to get the resources they need to make it a better school system. We have a membership of teachers. It's multiracial, people from underserved neighborhoods and more affluent areas. We have parents with kids in the schools, and as well as older folk like myself who represent the 6 out of 7 Jefferson County households that don't have a current K through 12 student in the household. You all know JCPS takes any and all comers. That's what public schools do. They have to engage kids where they are with the problems that they bring to school that are not of the school's making. And our job is to help them get the resources they need. I think the homes where these high-need kids live are not evenly spread across the county. Redividing and resegregating Jefferson County schools would take us back to the 70s, as others have said. But it's really not a very practical idea either. Student-family choices around schools and programs would be drastically diminished for both affluent and poor because each new district would have fewer offerings compared to the 50-plus magnet programs that we have, the academies of Louisville, traditional schools and specialty schools. Trying to divide up tax revenue, school buildings, staff, and school district boundaries, and doing that equitably would be virtually impossible. So 5 things I want to share that you can help us with. Stop the multi-decade inflation-adjusted underfunding of the SEEK program statewide. About 30 cents out of every Jefferson County school property dollar goes back to Frankfurt. That redistribution to smaller rural districts under CARA is a matter of fairness. Shrinking the inflation-adjusted SEEK pool, though, is not. 2, reevaluate the SEEK multipliers to support specific student populations adequately. Multilingual students are the fastest growing part of JCPS demographics. They, along with special needs, those kids, those living in poverty, and other high needs groups need benefit from special intensive help. The teachers and trained aides for those 3 groups are also the hardest people to find and to retain in the school system. Number 3, provide more funds statewide for competitive teacher salaries that will help attract and retain quality teachers. Fully fund the teacher retirement system statewide JCPS alone may be short hundreds of full-time teachers this year. It's a statewide problem, though. 4, go beyond this biennial budget's promise to finally fund school bus transportation to 100%. Work with JCPS and Metro Louisville to build a meaningful countywide public transportation system to service schools, bus hubs, and work sites outside the urban core. Help focus more of our revenue dollars on classrooms, not JCPS buses. And lastly, fund and expand model programs for public community schools. These are not neighborhood schools, community schools, i.e. where physical and mental health clinics, social services, after-school mentoring help are in the building, and parents participate broadly in school decisions and directions. JCPS leadership and school staff are committed in innovating to help each and every child. Give them the
Sir, I'm
resources
sorry,
to
we're
do
out of
that.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Maya, Ariana.
Hello, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was sitting back there and I was trying to make my way up and you called like another group. But my name is Melissa Nelson.
Okay, great.
Hi, how are you? I just want to start off by saying that the state motto is united we stand, divided we fall. And I think as we work together to make this school system the best it can be, I think we will have great results. Now, I am a product of JCPS. I went through JCPS my entire school career. I'm a third generation college or JCPS graduate, and then I have 3 students that have gone through or are in JCPS. And so I have a really unique perspective because I'm also studying JCPS as I go through my doctoral program. Last year, I had the privilege of doing listening sessions with the community. And what I've learned is that whenever we do anything on the behalf of others, we should always hear from them. So I applaud you for doing this and talking to community. And I hope that you listen to what everyone has said, because that matters. You are representing us. We have put you in these seats. We have honored you and followed you and gone along with the laws and things as we continue to do. And as we continue to move, hopefully this great state in the same direction, all working together to make sure that all of us have what we need to remember that our youth are our future. And so as we continue to keep them at our forefront, know that JCPS is a unique situation. It is a big district, but for the most part, it does work. I want to highlight that we were one of the few districts that were that exceeded the expectations of coming out of the pandemic. And so we didn't get there happenstance. That was through great work of our teachers, of our counselors, of our school district as a whole. Yes, we could work and do things better, but I think as long as you have the community behind your back, we will continue to do that. So I want to thank you again for being here, for listening, and I hope you continue to do that. And we'll support our school system. And that's what I heard from those listening sessions. So thank you.
Thank you. Karen Maya, Ariana Maya Porras, Mandel Clark, and Amina Shale.
Hello, my name's Amina Shell. I am the founder of More Than a Smile, but today I'm here as a concerned community member, and as a concerned community member, I'm trying to figure out and understand how you're assisting multilingual communities with no representation on the board or little representation. I'm not sure if you guys have someone who is multilingual, but when these communities aren't represented, we're not able to tell you what we experience. We're not able to say, hey, we suggest this. Do you plan on having any listening sessions for us? What is, in store for us? Because I feel like you guys propose policies and everything happens and we know nothing. We don't hear it until it comes directly to our communities. JCPS has been working with multilingual communities. As we grow, we are looking for ways to be represented. We want to be represented. However, even within this room, I feel like we probably didn't know it was happening today. The lack of interpreters, the lack of just, hey, you're welcome to come into the room, I feel like that has to be addressed. And what do you guys have? I saw the post on Facebook and that's how I got here, but I just feel like more should be done for those communities.
Lisa Wilson, Judy Upman, Deborah O'Banion, and Monica Thomas.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'm telling you, I'm standing here as a grandparent and a child that was affected by busing. So, good evening, everyone, and I do have well wishes for you all. And I first wish to commend the members of JCPS board, the staff personnel who does the grunt work behind the scenes, and all of the teachers who have taken the task on of educating our children, who are the future of our great community. The words, our community, means a lot to me because it means our community practices diversion and inclusion. And one of the main ways our community has become to consider this practice as a norm is because our children have grown up beside each other, people from different economical levels, different skin color, different religious practices, and of course, different political views. And breaking up our school district may revert Jefferson County back to the pre-1970s, the inequalities that cause all kinds of blatant separation and, of the haves and the have-nots. We don't want to go back. We want to move forward. Our children have the support of our community to begin their journey to become global citizens, knowledgeable and respecting other people who are not from their immediate 2-block radius. And breaking up our school system and not fully funding our school system that is intact now, it will cause such a disservice to our community and our children, my grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Judy Lipman, not Upman. I get that a lot. Number one, thank you for holding this session. And I'm a community volunteer with 2 grown kids who graduated from Jefferson County Public Schools, and I totally support our public school system. My big issues are funding. If we value education, if we value in this country and here in our city, in our state, equal opportunity for all, where the devil is it? If we don't give our schools all over our community, I'm talking about JCPS for right now, but throughout the state, if we don't give them the funds to be able to hire staff, to other support staff as well too, for equal education, then we're just fooling ourselves. We're not fooling ourselves. We know that. We accept that. So, and if you've heard the term better angels, for every single one of us in this room, we have that in us. I really believe in the goodness of people at heart. But we come together. Are we going to come together? Are we going to divide? What is the purpose of this governance task force for education? You know, we've heard, ask the people who are affected by it. But if we come together, if we get to know in our schools, in curriculum as well, in readings and class discussions, things that may not happen and may happen in some places, learn about each other's life experiences. So we're not, the elites are over here, and this neighborhood goes here, and these guys. And if we do divide up, who the devil goes where? You know, and do we just remain in our cadres of who we know and who we are familiar with? Or do we learn about each other and learn about caring and understanding and learn things that we never heard before and ask questions about it? We also learn about how does our government work? How can our students have a voice? How can they actively grow up knowing how our government is defined and how they have civic engagement possibilities? How can they speak up for themselves, like the young prodigies? There are efforts like that in our district now. How do, you know, who do we want to raise? What do we expect from our kids when they graduate? Are they able to go out and be full citizens, competent, confident, cooperative, or something different? So as you look at governance, as you look at how do we promote education in our schools, can we come together? Can we come together? Others have said this too. And one thought I keep having is we have too few adults in our schools in JCPS. What about hiring parents? Parents who maybe never got through high school or college or whatever else, along with those who did, and give them a training and be a presence in the classroom. I just saw something in the paper the other day about another parent, others in the classroom, assistants, aides. But what about if they're parents? You know,
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Okay, the last thing I'll say is people who I've met through my lifetime who say, oh, what is your job? Oh, yeah, I work for the board. There is such pride in working for JCPS. Thank you.
Okay, we have Tyra Thomas Walker, Autumn Nagel, and Brayley Breed.
Good evening. My name is Tyra Thomas Walker. I am the co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, as well as an educator for 15 years with JCPS and now a candidate for Metro Council for District 24. Everybody has said what I'm going to say, but I do want to say one thing. Senator Nemes, you said that this meeting was not regarding splitting up the district, when this is why, and this has probably already been said, the task force was created. So this is why we're here. And I'm glad you hear and are hearing the concerns of the community and the leaders in this community, because it is a concern. We will go back to segregation again. And this is not what we want. My son graduated, my niece graduated from Central High School. I have a son who graduated from J-Town in the engineering program. I have a niece right now at Butler Traditional. I had a nephew at YPAS. Do you hear all the schools in this district that accommodated my children? And there's more high schools, Southern High School, that have accommodated my children, and I do not want to split up this district. What I will say is fund public education.
Hello, my name is Autumn Nagel. I'm a proud graduate of Central High School. My son graduated in 2022 from JCPS and has a full ride scholarship from Transylvania University. So JCPS did him good. I also have a daughter that is in 3rd grade in JCPS. I am a board member on the local, district, and state PTA. I'm here to address your questions. The first one, fully fund education, period. That's what we need. Second, I believe our students need to continue to have the opportunities to expand their higher education and our co-ops and courses in our local colleges while attending high school. I believe we need to continue to expand our arts and athletics in our school, as not every child is academically gifted. I also believe that we need to increase our supports for our schools to help our students to succeed with academics, not to mention funding transportation and making sure our school buildings are being kept up and building new ones when we need them. I believe that we need more parents involved in our schools and our district committees. I believe parent and student voice needs to be on every SBDM council in our schools, and these voices should be authentic and be shown the respect they deserve. I believe public education in my district is powerful, and I will continue to send my child to JCPS schools. I don't believe it should be split up. Now here's the caveat. I don't think I need someone from the state to tell my district what to do. I need less state interference by people who I did not elect. I can bring my wishes for my school district to my board member or to the JCPS board at any time. I have a voice and a vote power along with my fellow members of my community to vote in those on the JCPS board and to vote them out. I don't have power to choose those in Frankfurt that would like to attack my school district and my school system. I have watched over all the politicians attack JCPS and make more rules, more red tape, and try to tear us down. Does JCPS have issues? Yes, we do. Do we know them? Yes, we do. Do we need someone that we didn't elect telling us what to do? No, we don't. My name is Autumn Nagel. This is my school district, and I do not want interference from those who do not have an authentic voice and a stake in how my district should look. Please remember that we are the taxpayers, we are the voice, and this is our district. Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Braylee Breed. I'm an 8th grader at Grace James Academy of Excellence. And I'm here to remind you that we are the future, and every single student in JCPS is the future. So splitting up our district and taking away our educational opportunities could affect our future very much. As I said, I'm an 8th grader, and next year I would like to go to Manual High School. But I will not be able to do that if the district is split up. So I ask you to please take whatever everybody in here is saying into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends everybody's sign up for public discussion. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce two people that I love working with. I see Senator Berg here and Representative Josie Raymond are here with us today. I want to thank everybody very much for coming out tonight in 110 degrees to come to the auditorium and talk to us about JCPS. We appreciate it very much. I couldn't be more impressed with this school. It's really neat. I look forward to touring other schools. So thank you, everyone, and have a great evening. And at that, motion to adjourn? Motion, second? We're adjourned.